There's a place down the street where good friends meet. Why don't you come along? See a face that's new, share a point of view, or maybe sing a song. Life has many stories that you hear all the time. Two of them you'll hear today, that's yours and that's mine. But there's a third story that'll always be there. Just climb to the top of the stair. Life has many stories that you hear all the time. Two of them you'll hear today, that's yours and that's mine. But there's a third story that'll always be there. Just climb to the top of the stair. Climb to the top of the stair.
Oh, hi, Kelly.
Hi.
Hi, Kelly.
Here's all the games I borrowed from you guys.
Oh, it's about time.
Let's play Scrabble. I always like that.
Hey, yeah, who wants to play? Ron, you can learn how to spell in this game.
Well, as long as I can learn something. Hey, why don't you and I play together, Connie?
Okay, sure.
Hey, Byron, you want to play?
Nah, there's too many people.
I'm not playing. I'm tired of Scrabble. Go ahead and play, Byron.
Oh, all right.
You guys, should I be scorekeeper here?
Okay.
Have you ever thought of your feet as your foundation? We shouldn't look down on them since they are very important parts of our body. Just think of all that weight they have to hold up. The foot is very stable and yet flexible. It has 26 bones in it and is full of ligaments and tendons. It must react dully to pain because it has to take the daily stomping and pounding we give it. But at the same time, the foot must be pliable so we can walk properly. Taking a step actually involves 3 separate actions of the foot. First, your heel strikes the ground, setting the direction for the rest of the body. Then the ball of your foot follows, and finally your toes touch ground to push you off again on another step. When you plant your foot down, your weight moves to that same hip. The pelvis swings over to that side, and the other leg slightly lifts up so it can swing around in the direction you are trying to go. Walking, you tend to think of it as a pretty simple accomplishment, is actually quite involved, your weight alternating between both legs. The knee joint is also very important for moving about. The knee joint can select a certain axis for whatever surface you walk over. For example, the axis shifts if we walk from a soft carpeted area to concrete. The special shift makes the rest of the leg function smoothly, unlike a makeshift wooden leg which would give you jerky motions. The toes are used for pushing us off when we walk. Each toe must be very elastic and flexible, and the tiny bones strong enough to support our weight. Think how strong and flexible each tiny toe has to be. When you jump down from a tree, your toes have to absorb the shock of hitting the ground. And why does it always happen that when you first stub your big toe, you're forever hitting it after that and aggravating the situation? It is important that we don't abuse our feet, even though they are tough and can take a lot. It's good to go barefoot in the grass and soil, but don't do it on the cement. Wearing the right size of shoes can also prevent foot problems. In fact, shoes that are too small can hinder your feet from growing properly which can result in permanent damage later on. And another thing you may not have thought of, without feet or hands, our brain wouldn't develop properly because it couldn't tell if objects were three-dimensional, since you would have no feel of the objects. All of the parts of the body God gave us are important. If one part does not function properly, the rest of the body feels it. So these extremities of the body, called feet, are very important to our physical and mental well-being. You could sort of say our feet keep us in touch with the earth.
There. Pretty good word, eh?
X-E-N-T, I see.
We're playing in English, Moni.
Xanthic means yellow. I found that out in art class yesterday.
How are we supposed to play with words like that?
Just because I'm winning, Byron, doesn't mean you have to get snarky.
Snarky? Who's getting snarky?
Come on, Byron, go on. It's your turn.
I don't want to play anymore.
Come off it and play, Byron. Quit holding up the game. I've got a great word here.
I'm not playing, I said.
Why don't you take over, Connie?
Okay.
Good idea.
Yeah, the awful letters.
Who's winning?
Moni got a big lead with that X.
You can really do something with this cue, Connie.
No, I cannot do anything with that cue because there's no U that I can use.
Hey, everybody, don't put out a U where Connie can use it, okay?
Byron, who's playing?
I will now if you just move over.
I will not. You gave up your place, so don't try and get it back.
I was just kidding. Boy, can't you take a joke?
Hey, have you had a hate inside of yourself that you just had to let out? And did you look for every little excuse to let it come out loud? And once you start, it's hard to stop. When someone gets in your way, you're putting them down, driving them down, driving them into the ground. Hey, do you hate the hate inside of yourself? Can't keep from letting it out. Deep down you feel the hater starting to win and make it come out loud. And once you start, it's hard to stop. The hater has it his way. He's putting you down, driving you down, driving you into the ground. And once you start, it's hard to stop. The hater has it his way. He's putting you down, driving you down, driving you into the ground. Hey, have you heard about the love of God? So glad I finally found a love to drive out every hate in my heart. It turned me right around. And once you start, the hate will stop. If someone gets in your way, you're helping them up, lifting them up, showing them the love of God. And once you start, the hate will stop. If someone gets in your way, you're helping them up, lifting them up, showing them the love of God.
Byron, could you keep that down a bit? It's hard to concentrate.
I'm just trying to keep you guys company while you're having a good time.
Byron?
There is a war on. Inside some people there is a conflict. and it's killing their soul. There is a battle of fear and frustration, a brokenness that needs to be made whole. They need a peacemaker with a loving hand. Yes, a peacemaker who will show them God's plan. Oh, a peacemaker who will understand and help them be healthy again. There is rebellion inside some people, a fight against God and doing His will. There's revolution to prove you're somebody, a restlessness that needs to be made still. They need a peacemaker with a loving hand. Yes, a peacemaker who will show them God's plan. Oh, a peacemaker who will understand and help them be healthy again. There is a crisis inside some people, a confrontation with standards and rules, a crippling combat with losses and failures, a death wish and disease in every due. They need a peacemaker with a loving hand. Yes, a peacemaker who will show them God's plan. Oh, a peacemaker who will understand and help them be healthy again. So be a peacemaker with a loving hand. Yes, a peacemaker who will show them God's plan. Be a peacemaker who will understand, and you will have peace, my friend.
Byron, why are you frustrating us and yourself like this? We can't read your mind.
And it's ruining our game.
So why blame me for changing my mind once in a while?
Changing your mind isn't a sin.
We're holding up the game, and I have a good word coming up. It's getting pretty close.
You know, when a person is messed up inside, that affects other people. Byron was only changing his mind around, but there was a man in the New Testament whose name was Saul. Saul was really deeply troubled inside. He was troubled about the fact that there were a lot of people following Jesus. Now, Jesus had claimed to be the Messiah, God's Son, and he disagreed with that violently. He went out to the extent that he was killing Christians. He would go right into their homes and drag them off to prison. He hated them following Jesus so terribly much. One day they were going on a trip like this to a little town called Damascus. He and a group of officers were riding along. It was a hot day, the sun was shining down. But suddenly something very strange happened. The sun seemed to send out a very brilliant light. It came down to Saul as he was riding. Saul fell right off his horse. As he was lying on the ground, he heard a voice that called his name. Now, Saul was normally a very brave person and could handle most things, but this situation totally unnerved him. There he lay on the road, and he heard this voice which was speaking his name. Saul, why are you trying to hurt me? Saul looked up and tried to see, but he couldn't see because the light was so bright. He said, who are you? And the voice responded, I am the Lord, I'm Jesus. He realized then that Jesus was the Son of God, the Messiah. He asked Jesus then what he should do. And Jesus sent him to a little town close by. The light had been so bright that it had blinded Saul, and men had to lead him around like a child. But in meeting Jesus, Saul had really changed. In fact, his name was changed to Paul. And you know him as one of the greatest missionaries that was in the New Testament.
My name is Robert Buck. I was brought up in a Christian home. My mom and dad were Christians. But somewhere along the road, I went wrong, and as I grew up a rebellious person, and as time wore on, at an early age, I started working at the hotel. And during this time, I was drinking, a lot of things were happening, I was getting into trouble, I was ending up in court. And then there was the dope that people brought into town. I was all tried. And through this all, I see that there was nothing in my life. As I look back now, there's nothing. I was headed for nowhere. I was headed for death for sure. And most likely hell, but I never thought about it at the time. I knew there was a hell. I knew there was a God, but I never accepted it. And many times I'd laugh and say I was going to hell. And there are a lot of other times when I'd make fun or scoff God's name. I left and I went to Asher in Manitoba, where they were having a children's Bible camp. And I met a man named John Erickson, and he led me to the Lord, and he showed me what the Lord was. And then he sent me to Bible school. And 2 months later, I was in the Bible school. And this is where a lot of things started to happen. First of all, I wasn't sure how I was supposed to be there. Sometimes I'd look around and it'd be like I was in a dream or something. I wonder, hey man, what am I doing here with all these people? And everybody used to walk around and smile and say, I love you. And it was good. It was a good feeling, and it was hard to get used to still. And I didn't know what God was trying to say. I didn't know why he had chosen me to be here. I don't know what he had for me in plan. Sometimes I wondered, is there a God? My roommate did a lot of praying for me, but there was something that always kept me, is I had a peace in my heart, a peace in my mind that I never had before. I had a joy just being there, learning these things, knowing that somebody cared for me, but knowing that God loved me and that he changed my life, and that I had no desire to do what I used to do. One of my greatest frustrations before becoming a Christian was my search for something. I guess it was the inner peace that I had with God. I never found it. It wasn't in the booze I drank, and it wasn't in the dope that we smoked, and it wasn't in anything else that I looked for in all the things that I did. No, I had something to look forward to, a reason for living, and I have a purpose in life. The thing that gives me the most peace is knowing that Jesus Christ is my personal Savior, that he's my foundation, and that with him he's brought such a change in my life that nothing will ever, that I don't even want to look back to where I came from. And this is the greatest peace that I've had, knowing that he's just there, and that he lives, and that he died for me.
Hey Byron, why don't you join us? Come on, be my partner.
I'm sorry, guys. I was just being selfish, that's all. I'll do the best I can, I promise.
Okay, let's see. Has anybody got something for that H?
It's my turn. I think I'll do something here.
Okay.
Took
Moni, have
my
you got
other
a word?
spot, Connie.
Thinking.
So you've been watching The Third Story. We think that's just great. Maybe you'd like to know more about the program and the people on it. We have something special for you. It's a magazine that tells something about us and how the programs are made. It has lots of stories and songs from the programs and lots of pictures. If you write to us, we'll send you a copy. Send your letter to The Third Story, Box 2, Station F, Winnipeg, Manitoba. That's The Third Story, Box 2, Station F, Winnipeg, Manitoba. We'll be waiting to hear from you.
I know a place that's made with love, living in every member of the home, where I'm at home. I know a place that's made with prayer, guiding each soul in Jesus' care. At home, where I'm at home. I know a place where we can start learning just how to do our part. At home, where I'm at home. I know a place where work and fun ought to be shared by everyone. At home, where I'm at home. I know a place, a time to test, helping you find what you do best. At home, where I'm at home. I know the place where I belong, the people I